You know, I have lived the majority of my life like most women. I have had jobs, I've had a family and friends, and worked in my community and did the things that I was supposed to do, tried to do as many things as I could think of that I wanted to do, and have led, in my mind, a fairly unremarkable life. Sure, I've had challenges. I've even had events in my life that felt like the absolute end of the world. But let's get real. Everybody has that in their life. It's nothing special, nothing to write home about, so to speak. I have seen so many, quote, hero's journey stories. These are people who suffered dramatic circumstances or events that feel so monumental that literally a movie could be made from them. These people also seem to have that one sparkly moment or turning point that they can point to as where the big win or the transformation started. I don't have all that dramatic of a story. I have a typical and even average life in many ways. I have not been physically brutalized. I have not been overtly discriminated against. I have not been homeless or penniless. I have not battled a severe and debilitating illness or physical trauma. I don't have that one defining circumstance or realization to point to as the beacon of light for others to be inspired by. I just don't. So for this reason, I have resisted the idea that I can turn my life journey into something like the examples I keep being given for how to create that hero's journey with the powerful story arc. It just ends up feeling intimidating, inauthentic, and basically impossible. So as I started to do this work with women, helping them to re-examine and curate their own life stories, how to change mindsets, come up with different ways to lead more fully abundant, fulfilling, and authentic lives, I struggled with, how do I relate? How can I be the Pied Piper of mediocre, mildly dissatisfied women everywhere? I really struggled with it. And then one morning, while I was doing my very best to attempt to quiet my mind and meditate, and I do say attempt because I struggle with it, there was something that came from inside me as a quiet voice that said, the unremarkable story is the story. The fact that my life is exactly the life that millions of other women live out just like me is exactly the point. Most people don't have a Lifetime Network original movie worthy life, so we think that what we have is fine. It's okay. It's all there is. We are not in crisis. So what we have must be what we should have. We see the stories about the people who overcome dramatic and seemingly insurmountable odds to win at life. And while we are inspired and buoyed by their wins, we know that it's not our story. I think for most of us, because of that, we tend to lull ourselves to sleep at the wheel of life with thoughts like, well, I'm not being abused or living all that uncomfortably, so I guess this boring marriage is where I stay. What I have is fine. Or at least I have a job and I'm not homeless. Look at how many people don't. So I should just shut up and take what they give me and be grateful, etc., etc. We tend to opt out of the magnificent for the mediocre because we have convinced ourselves that since we don't have the dramatic challenges, we should just be satisfied with what we have. It's not so bad, right? So now it feels like telling my quote non-story, where I'm basically demonstrating that my boring or unremarkable challenges still have the ability to erode our lives, still have the ability to cause us to play small, to discount our worth, to put ourselves last, ultimately resulting in a life that always feels just a little bit off, always just a little unsatisfying without the magic we crave, has become very important, a critical mission for me. My non-story sends a message to all those women who, just like me, have justified staying on autopilot because we, quote, weren't suffering enough, that our plight is, in fact, just as important and just as fixable, with the potential for us to create lives that we're madly in love with. And frankly, a sense of gratefulness that we're able to do this without having had to suffer through great tragedy or challenge to deserve it. Our middle-of-the-road lives are just as worthy of finding full self-expression. And so now I feel really inspired as I do this work to record what I'm learning, record what I'm seeing, write about it, take photographs, share that with you. My own journey to brave as a way to show you that you also deserve to have your own. That journey to brave that allows you to be bold and resilient and authentic and vulnerable and always, always evolving. And that's what I hope we're going to do here in this space.